Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday, and thank you so much for joining us for a live product tour of the NovoEd's collaborative learning platform. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to join us, and we realize that learning leaders like yourselves are in the midst of finding ways to quickly transition in-person workshops online. So whether your effort is aimed at employee onboarding, leadership development, sales enablement, or digital transformation, these critical training initiatives can't be delayed. Our hope today is that you'll be able to leave this product with a better understanding of how NovoEd enables you to transform your in-person workshops into a highly engaging digital learning experience without sacrificing impact. So before we dive in, I just want to take a quick moment here to give you a brief overview of GoToWebinar in case anyone is unfamiliar with the platform. Please note that you're all on mute, and you can actually use your control panel as shown here on the right-hand side to submit questions at any time during this product tour. We will respond to questions as they come in, and we'll also be stopping for Q&A at the end, so go ahead and ask away. We welcome all and any questions. At the end of this webinar, an exit survey will pop up. If you could take a few moments to fill out the survey and provide us with some feedback so that we can continue to improve our webinar program, that would be greatly appreciated. Lastly, I do want to mention that this webinar is being recorded, and you will receive the recording via email tomorrow morning, so please keep an eye out for that. I'd like to take a moment to introduce both myself and my colleague, Amanda. My name is Jessica, and I'm the marketing manager here at NovoEd, and I'm joined by our solutions consultant, Amanda DiFederici. So recently joining the team as a solutions consultant, Amanda brings 15 years of experience in learning and education to NovoEd as an e-learning product designer, instructional designer, library director, and music teacher. She is passionate about learning science and user experience and holds a Master's of Library and Information Science and BS in Music Education from the University of South Carolina.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you.
We're both very excited to be here with you today. For today's agenda, we will begin with an overview of NovoEd and our platform before diving into a demo of our collaborative learning platform. At the end, we'll also pause and answer any questions that have come up. However, we are going to be answering questions along the way through the chat panel, so please feel free to ask anything that may come up. For anyone who is unfamiliar with NovoEd, our collaborative learning platform empowers organizations to design and deliver experiential learning that accelerates business performance on a global scale. Since our company's founding at Stanford's Social Algorithms Laboratory in 2012, global corporations, executive education providers, and training firms have relied on NovoEd to develop high-value capabilities through purposeful practice and application, coaching and mentoring, and group collaboration. NovoEd's proven approach to learning connects diverse groups of learners, mentors, and leaders in a high-impact online environment, unlocking your organization's collective knowledge and driving measurable outcomes. In 2018, we were acquired by Fidelity as part of their EdTech strategy. Some customers that we work with include Kraft Heinz, IDEO, Comcast, and Stanford. So before we dive deeper into NovoEd, I just want to take a quick moment and launch a poll here. We'd love to hear from you. You should see a poll pop up on your screen asking which types of in-person training is your organization prioritizing to move online. I'll give you all a quick moment just to answer here, and note that you can answer or rather select multiple options. And if you happen to select other, please use the questions panel to let us know what we may have missed. We'd love to tailor this webinar to everyone's needs here, so this will be very insightful for us. Thank you to everyone who voted. I'll keep it open for another 10 to 15 seconds. If you haven't gotten a chance to respond, please do. Wonderful. I'll go ahead and close the poll and share the results with everyone here. So it looks like a vast majority of you are focused on leadership training as well as onboarding and innovation and change training. This is no surprise to us. We've asked this question a couple of times in a couple of the webinars we've done, and every time it seems like these three really come up and shine. So leadership training, onboarding, and innovation and change training are all types of solutions that we focus on and programs that we help build for all of our customers. And other, if you happen to mention that, please use the questions panel. Other for us would be D&I, digital transformation. There's also sales enablement, which we will all talk about throughout the demo today. So thank you again for your participation. So our platform is optimized for collaborative learning and a practice essential for facilitating behavior change. We found that learning together results in greater impact and productivity, fosters more diverse and supportive professional relationships, and creates a sense of belonging. And most importantly, collaboration actively engages learners, promoting accountability, strengthening and sustaining learning, and fostering a dynamic learning culture. Our platform enables peer learning and feedback between colleagues, mentors, and managers, and around relevant content, creating context and communities. These modern learning experiences are proven to be more effective in fueling organizational transformation at scale than any other learning and development program. What really differentiates the NovoEd platform are three key things that you see here. So first, NovoEd enables you to design, curate, and deliver high-impact learning experiences that engage learners and drive development of high-value skills. These experiences are more relevant to the learner and to your business by tying practical conversations, collaborative practice and application, and constructive feedback to instructional content. Second, learners can better develop skills by developing connections to each other and to experts. When you provide access to perspective and expertise, you can accelerate the sharing of knowledge and in the process create value for the organization. And lastly here, you can do this all at scale. An authentic culture of learning and growth emerges when learning is accessible to learners, managers, mentors, and coaches at any time and from any location. Our platform is also accessible on both iOS and Android apps. So there are a lot of learning technology solutions out there, and we realize this, so I want to give you a sense of where we fit into the learning ecosystem. What you see on the screen here is a version of Josh Berson's technology stack. NovoEd is focused squarely on delivering high-impact learning experiences that bring people together to collaborate on learning. We can integrate into other parts of your ecosystem, so NovoEd learning experiences can be accessed through your LMS or LXP, and you can bring in existing content and various learning objects that you have built internally or have access to through content subscriptions. With that said, I'm going to turn it around to Amanda, who will walk you through the NovoEd Collaborative Learning Platform. If any questions arise during this time, feel free to ask away, and we'll make sure to address those.
All right, hello everyone. So today I'm going to be walking through the NovoEd platform from three different experiences. We're going to start with the learner's experience, where you'll see how we enable learners to apply what they've learned to in ways that showcase their understanding and as related to their real work. And also you'll see all of the social and collaborative features that we have to offer there. We'll also be taking a look at the mentor dashboard, where you can see our streamlined workflow that allows mentors to get in, support learners very quickly, and then get back to their regular work without a large time burden. And we'll also take a look at the admin, where we have analytics we'll be looking at, as well as how easy it is to edit content and build courses in the platform. As Jessica said, please put your questions in the chat as we go, and we'll be answering those as we go. We'll also have time at the end to answer some directly, and if I need to show something additionally, I can. So now I'm logged in to the learner dashboard as Leah Tan, and let's imagine that Leah is a newly promoted manager, and she's been enrolled in a couple of courses on the NovoEd platform to help her make this transition. Now, You might imagine these two courses that you see here on the dashboard maybe were once in-person training experiences, maybe a couple of days for this Leading Virtual Teams course, or maybe a single-day workshop. Innovative Problem Solving might have been a week-long in-person training. But now they've been transformed into online learning experiences. And with NovoEd, we see a lot of really a spectrum of different approaches to online learning with our customers. Some will do a very self-paced format where learners go through at their own speed. Others will take a more cohort approach where every week learners are working on the same piece of content, but they're doing it asynchronously, so when it's convenient for them within that week. And other customers are even doing a blended approach where there are synchronous events like webinars or virtual meetings peppered throughout the online learning. So people do come together at the same time, see each other's faces and have live discussions. And then for other weeks of the experience, they're doing the asynchronous activities when it's convenient for them. But they're still interacting and engaging with each other through the platform during that time. Before I dive into one of the courses, I do want to address a question we often get about how does this platform fit in with other learning technology that I have? We are not a learning management system, as Jessica was explaining, but we do integrate with them very easily. Most of our customers will do an integration where they can assign the NovoEd course to a learner. The learner then launches that from the LMS and logs into NovoEd. And when they complete the course within NovoEd, we send the completion data back to your LMS so that you can track it for compliance. So today, let's dive in. We're going to look at this Leading Virtual Teams course that Leah has been enrolled in. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is just the overall user interface. We strive for a really modern, sleek user experience, and this is fully mobile responsive, so this looks great on a small screen. We also have native apps for both iOS and Android, and with those apps you get a couple of additional benefits, like learners can download content from the course to the app and then access it offline. So if you have learners who are primarily working on their phones or out in the field and they're away from Wi-Fi, they can still make progress in this learning journey. Also with those apps, you get native notifications, the little red circles that appear on your apps that if you're like me, you can't help but go in and check and see what's going on. That's important because we know that modern adult learners are learning on the go. They're trying to do this in the flow of their work, in the flow of their home lives now, as many of us are staying at home. So we don't want them to forget about the course or forget to check in each week. So we are able to send them those notifications. Similarly, if you look up here below Leah's profile, you'll see our announcements, notifications, and messages. These live within the platform, but they will also be sent to Leah's email. So again, she doesn't have to remember to come to the course. You can send her as many reminders as you want, and she can sign up for a daily digest of those if it's too many to receive as they come in, but we are communicating with her to bring her in. In particular, our messages area, we take advantage of email marketing functionality that allows you to schedule emails in advance. So as a facilitator, if you've got limited time to be working in these courses, you can schedule all your emails at the beginning of the week and not worry about it again, if that's what you want to do. You can also target emails to specific groups of learners. Let's say, for example, you have an assignment that's due by the end of the week. Some learners have not completed it. You can select a couple of clicks in our admin to select that criteria and generate your email message, and it will only go to the learners who have not met that criteria. And that way you're sending them a targeted email with a very specific call to action that's relevant to them, and you're not blasting the entire course. So the next thing I want to draw your attention to is just the top area here. There are elements of NovoEd that are brandable, and this header is certainly one of those. There's also a custom subdomain that you would receive, and you can also establish some branding in terms of colors in the visual elements that you'll see when we get into the course itself. This center area is really important. This is the progress area, and this is where you dictate what it means to complete a course. And then learners are able to see how far they are along that path to completion. That might be earning a specific number of points and completing some specific to-do items. Any interaction in the course can be have points attached to it, whether it's something simple like participate in a discussion or watch this particular video, or it could mean submitting your assignment and giving your peers feedback. We track all of that here for the learners, so they don't have to wonder where are they in the course, what if they missed something, what did they miss? It's all here for them, including the number of points that they've earned. These points can serve to motivate learners as they go through their course because they see their progress building. And also, if you want to, we have a leaderboard functionality that you can use if you want to encourage a little competition or motivation in your learners. But that is an optional item that you can choose to use if you wish. Coming over to the right-hand side now, this is our social and community panel. And this is where learners can interact with other people in the course. If you see here, if I click on this person's profile, everyone creates a profile in the course where they introduce themselves, and it helps learners put a face with a name so that you can see who you're working with. It doesn't have to be this cold experience like a lot of online learning sometimes is. This is also a place where, as an administrator, you can ask additional demographic questions or any kind of question you want to know about learners, and then use that later on in the analytics to slice and dice your data however you want. Coming further down this social community area, you're going to see groups that our learners can join. NovoEd uses the concept of both groups and teams. Teams are small numbers of people, maybe 5-ish, that are working on projects together and assignments together throughout the course. But groups are more casual, organically formed groups where learners can come together around common areas of interest or maybe common job functions or even like regional areas. And here they're building networks with each other, they're picking each other's brains. And often we see that with our customers, when a course is finished and learners have completed all of the assignments, they're still logging in to come back to these groups and to talk to each other. So you can see the power of that social learning that's happening in the platform. Here at the very bottom, you're going to see a See My Mentor button. NovoEd also allows for learners to be supported by a mentor. You could customize this to say a coach or a buddy, whatever terminology you use. But Leah's mentor is Mark, and he's going to be checking in on her progress, encouraging her through the course, giving her feedback on assignments, and even participating in the discussions if he wants to. And Leah has quick access to send him a message here at any time that she needs to. So let's talk for a moment about how we structure courses in NovoEd. Here in this course, we have the content broken out into a couple of different modules, and inside of those modules, we have what we call lesson pages. We are really transparent to learners about the amount of time each one takes, as well as the number of points that can be earned or that have already been earned. And this gives learners the ability to budget their time really effectively if we know they are only going to be coming in for maybe 30 minutes or an hour at a time to get things done. Now with these modules, you can schedule these to release at specific dates and times if you want to keep that cohort feel as people move through the content together. You can release them all at once so someone can do something more self-paced. You can even set prerequisites so that a learner has to complete an individual challenge before they can move on to the team challenge. Before I dive into the content, I do want to point out one special functionality here, and that is if you want to do a live webinar or a virtual meeting and create a blended learning experience, we do support that in the platform. Any web meeting technology will work if you use GoToMeeting or WebEx or even Google Hangouts, for example. But we do have a special integration with Zoom that has a couple extra bells and whistles. Essentially, the way it works is that learners can click here to register for the webinar, and then there'll be a countdown, and then they can launch the webinar from this page. And when it's all said and done, the recording will be posted back here again. So they're getting all of that in a streamlined way. Learners don't have to run to their email to check and get that link and then come back to the course. It's all comes in together. And it also gives you an opportunity to post related materials to the this page as well, maybe documents that you want the learners to have access to. And also post discussions. If a discussion comes out of the webinar that needs to continue, or people weren't able to attend the webinar, they can still participate in the conversation. And it's all here streamlined in one place for them. In a similar theme of streamlining things, let's take a look at some of the content that we provide, the content that we support in our platform with our first lesson page. So what you're seeing here is a lesson of content. You're going to see things like, obviously we support text, we support video. With video, if you upload videos to our platform, you can embed quizzes and surveys inside of them to make it a more interactive and learning experience, so it's not as passive as just simply watching a video. We also support, if you're coming from a face-to-face training and all you have are slide decks and documents and maybe a video someone recorded on a cell phone, you can still bring those in to this learning environment. And we have a lot of tools that will help you build that social element or the applied practice element to those materials that you already have. And we preview them here for learners so that you don't have to download them and look at them separately. We don't want learners to leave this page because there's a lot of data out there that shows if the learner has to leave to go do something else, they're going to get distracted and are less likely to come back. On that topic, I'd like to point out our discussion posts. So here, you'll see the discussion is in line with the content. You can put discussion posts wherever you want in a course. And again, we're not sending the learner away like a lot of other learning platforms do. It's going to happen right in line here. And this really feels like a social media experience, right? Where we're going to read an article, we're going to watch a video, and then we're going to talk about it directly below. Now, these discussions, learners can add their own comments, they can like each other's posts, they can even respond to each other and do a direct mention. And that will kick off a notification to Janice now that I just sent her a comment, and she's going to see that and be curious as to, oh, what did they say? Let me go check that out. We also support quizzes if you're looking to do some knowledge checks. Did someone understand what they just read or watched? You can get very simple with the feedback or more nuanced if you want to give some explanation as to why an answer is correct or incorrect. And when you're building out these content pieces, whether you're bringing something over that you already have, like a slide deck, or if you're building a quiz, the tools to do this are incredibly simple. I'll show this when we get to the admin, but let me just say that it's really like drag and drop and fill out a template. You don't need to know how to code at all to build a course. It's really easy, and quite honestly, I think it's actually fun to do. So we'll definitely take a look at that. So all of these types of content, this is typically what you would imagine to see in an online learning platform. But where NovoEd starts to stand apart is where we get to how learners apply what they've learned. Now, quizzes are great for like the lower levels of Bloom's taxonomy, where learners need to remember something or they need to prove that they understand it. But when you get to higher levels of learning, learners need to be applying and they need to be creating things. And you have the opportunity to do that with our assignments and challenges. In this particular assignment, we're asking Leah to record a 30-second video of herself and upload it to the platform. But this assignment could be really any object you can imagine. Maybe it's upload a document, a slide deck, a picture, upload a Excel sheet. It's really flexible and can accommodate almost anything that you would ask a learner to do in order to apply what they've learned to their real work. And What's great about this also is that we can set up this assignment to require approval from her mentor, Mark. So when she submits her video, it's going to send a notification to Mark that her assignment is ready to be reviewed. And he can approve it and she'll earn her points, or he can give her feedback and ask her to revise it. Leah is also going to be receiving feedback from her peers. So this is taking that social learning up another level, where learners are going to give each other feedback and they can learn from each other's user-generated content. So what I'd like to do now is actually step away from this screen for a moment and show you what the platform looks like on a mobile device. And so here you are seeing my cell phone, actually. So I'm going to open the app, and let me come back to my home page. So here you're going to see there's that progress area we saw. Here's the different content, lessons. I'm going to go to that individual challenge, and you can see it looks identical to what we saw on the screen. And I'm going to start my submission. So here I would, type in and answer a few questions. Then I'm going to record a video of myself very quickly. And I apologize, my phone is not cooperating. Apologies for that. But then I would upload that to the journey and submit it, and then Mark is going to get that notification as well. Now, once Leah's done submitting her assignment, then she has the opportunity to not only receive feedback, but to give feedback to her peers. This submission gallery is pulling in, a preset number of learners that whatever you want Leah to do. Maybe it's 4, maybe it's 6. But from here, she can open up her peers' submission, and she can read what she wrote, and she can watch her video. And so there, then she can come down here and give Paola some feedback. But she's not just doing that in a vacuum. She can see what other people are saying about Paola's submission as well, whether that's her peers or even her mentor, Mark, has chimed in. So there's so many levels of learning happening here. Learners are not just learning from the content, they're learning from discussions with each other, they're learning from user-generated content each other's producing, and also learning from the conversations around that content. And this isn't just limited to the assignments itself. At any point, a learner can come to a submission gallery here at the top, and they can browse any submissions that have been made public. And they can filter those between what's been most liked or trending. And so if you've got some learners that are real rock stars in your course, other people can come here and learn from what they're doing as well. And we see this as really popular, especially like in a sales enablement use case where salespeople want to see what each other are doing so they can learn from each other and be more effective. But it also works for leadership and lots of other things as well. So we've seen here there's so much interactivity going on between learners, but to take that up to its ultimate conclusion, we get into like true collaboration, and that's what we see with our teams. So in NovoEd, you can assign learners to teams, or you can allow them to form their own, and they're going to work on projects together. So in this one, they have to do this assignment and upload it to the platform. It's the same mechanism that we saw in the individual assignment. But we don't just throw people into a group and say, into a team and say, hey, figure out how to work together offline, then come back to the platform and tell us what you did. We provide them with a private team workspace. And in that workspace, you can see that we're keeping them on track with their important to-do items and deadlines. They're in here having discussions. They're sharing documents. They can even use a scheduling tool to coordinate a time to meet synchronously to work on their project together. But what's most important about these spaces is that this gives learners a place to ask the kind of questions they're afraid to ask in a more public setting. It's a place where, like the workshop like a table at a workshop, they get to know these people really well, and they start to build a sense of accountability towards each other. And our research and our customers are seeing that learners who work in these teams have higher engagement and better performance in the course overall. But not only that, this gives you the opportunity to really scale your training. If you've got hundreds of people who need a learning experience, as a single facilitator or even a small team, it's really difficult to give everyone that high-touch experience that they need to be effective. But if you utilize teams where people are working in small groups, if you utilize peer feedback, so they're getting feedback from their peers, and if you utilize mentors to be checking in on them and giving them that personal touch, you can provide a really high-quality learning experience with hundreds of people in a course that doesn't require Herculean effort on the part of an administrator or facilitator. So that's it for the learner experience. Please, I see lots of questions coming in. Please keep them coming, and we'll be responding to those as they come in or at the end. I'm going to switch gears now and show you what it looks like from a mentor's perspective. So earlier we saw Mark is Leah's mentor, and he has a very similar dashboard. But I want to point out here that, if Mark only has like 15 minutes to come and just check in on what's going on, he doesn't even have to jump into the course itself. Any important to-do items will be here waiting for him, and he can open that up and give Sandy some feedback right now if he needs to. But let's say today Mark is going to actually go into the course and check on everyone. So he's going to go into leading virtual teams. He gets to see the same team, the same course experience that learners do. So he has the context of what they're going through, but he has this additional See My Mentees button that takes him to his dashboard. And again, that terminology can be configured in the admin if you want to call it something different. Now this is where Mark can, at an eagle's eye view, check in on the progress of his learners, whether that's the number of points they've earned or the to-do items that they've completed. And so he can see that, if a learner is falling behind, he can, with a couple clicks, open their profile and send them a message to check in, say, how are you doing? Is something going on? How can I help? He can also see the status of any assignments that have been submitted and if he has commented on them or not. Anything that needs Mark's immediate approval or needs comments from him is going to appear in a separate list. And with just a single click, he can open that submission and he can see what Sandy has written. He can watch her video, and then he can share feedback with her. And he might here just say, nice job, I like how you did X, Y, and Z, and approve it. And then she'll earn her points. Or he might say, nice job, but I want you to think about making more eye contact. And he can send this back to her for revision. Then Sandy will get a notification that her assignment's been reviewed. She needs to go check it out. Now let's say that Sandy did such a great job, Mark wants to hold her up as an example to the rest of the course. This feedback box is going to be by default private between Mark and Sandy, but he can click a button here to make it public so that everyone else can read it as well. And that's just going to further encourage Sandy and motivate her to keep doing such an awesome job. Now, this is a very qualitative type of feedback. Even comment-based feedback is fine. It is effective, very effective. But if you're looking to do something more rigorous, like scoring learners with a rubric, we do have options for that. Let me pull one of those up here with our learner, Jerry. So in this case, I'm going to evaluate him. You can see his response here on the left. And on the right, I can score him with a rubric based on these criteria of, was the content appropriate? Did he have a clear speaking voice? Now, all of this can be customized. You completely control the rubric criteria. You can make them as specific as you want. You can also control whether you use a slider. You might prefer a drop down or maybe like a type in a number between 1 and 10 box. We also have a feedback grid that is a little bit more structured than just an open comment box to provide the learner with some specific types of feedback as well. So I hope your takeaway from this mentor experience is just how easily and quickly a mentor can jump into a course environment and provide feedback and then get back to their daily lives and their daily work. I'm going to switch gears now and show you the admin experience quickly so that we have time for comments and questions at the end. So now I'm logged into the course as Denise, who is a facilitator. And in addition to everything else that the learners see, she has an admin dashboard. And this is where she's going to be able to manage the users, manage communications to the users, get to the analytics, and edit content. Today, we're going to take a quick look at the analytics, and I have that open on another tab here. So with the analytics, you're going to get two levels. There's the high-level summaries of engagement with not just the course itself, but with and the content in the course, but also how learners are engaging with each other, the social aspect of it. We also have a custom data download report that I'll show you where you can access any kind of data that we capture in our system. At the high level with these visualizations, you get the standard, who's completed the course, who's met their first milestones, and you also get breakdowns for each type of component, whether that's how people are engaging with assignments, how people are engaging with discussions. I like this because you can start to see trends. Like something in week 2 that was done here was incredibly effective. This is a good opportunity to go back and look at week 2 and see what did we do there that worked so well and try to replicate it. Not only are you getting insight into how your learners are engaging with the course, but also how effective is your content, and it helps you improve your courses over time. A great example of that is your videos here. If I drill down into a specific video, I get a really nice histogram here that shows me at what percentage the learners drop out of the video. Here, most of my learners are watching 90 to 100% of this video, which I'm very satisfied with. But if I saw a spike down here in the lower percentages, I would be concerned. Maybe that video is too long, or maybe there's a problem with it that I didn't catch in QA. So you can get that insight here. But like I said, where NovoEd really starts to stand apart is with that custom data download. So let's go take a look at what that looks like, because it's tremendously powerful, but yet simple to use at the same time. When you build a custom data download report, the output of that is going to be a CSV file that you can take with you. Many of our customers will combine it with data from their HR systems or other places and put it into Tableau. We also have custom APIs that can deliver this data, this rich, detailed data to your LMS if you're looking for that in addition to what comes with the standard LMS integration. And building these reports is incredibly easy. The first step is just determining who you want to know about, whether that's your learners, your mentors, or even the teams themselves. And then you can segment this data, filter it by those profile questions that you asked, maybe about how many years of experience people have, etc. The next step is defining what you want to see. Maybe you want to pull in those profile details again, like their location or their job title. You can include the progress they've made in the course, whether that's the points they've earned, the to-do items, the percentage of pages that they looked at. You can also get a look into their social activity. How active were they in discussion contributions, or how active were they in their teams? And then you get data from the learner activities. Let's say you want to know details about assignment 1. Once you select that, you get a whole nother level of choices here. Maybe you want to know the number of comments they received and the points they earned, and when was it approved. You can also see the similar level of detail with everything else, including the peer feedback or the quizzes they've taken, their discussion posts, the seconds of video they watched, and everything else. And the last step is just to name this and save it so that you can run it again at any point when you need with refresh data. Now, very quickly, I want to show you how easy it is to build content in the course. So I'm going to come back to my course here and open up a page of content. And here we have, excuse me, the ability to edit things. So you'll see additional options appear. And if you're bringing in third-party content like LinkedIn Learning, or you're bringing in a SCORM module from somewhere, we support all of that in this lesson. But today I want to show you your options for adding content, whether that's bringing in a video or a PDF and slide decks, or if you want to embed things that are already hosted on the web. And then you can add in that applied learning with challenges or quizzes, or social activity with discussions and peer feedback. But to show you how simple this is, I'm going to create a template. This is just a visual element that I'm adding to my course. I don't need to know how to code. I can just type in my text. I can upload an image. And already, this is going to look really good without a lot of effort, but I can edit it even more by changing the width and the height. I can change my text. I can even play with the colors if I know my hex code, or choose from a palette that's been created here. And the results are really simple and easy. So I'm going to stop there, and let's take a look. I know we have a few minutes left for some questions. So we come back.
Great. Thank you so much, Amanda. We do have some questions that have come in. If you have any questions, any burning questions, feel free to use the control panel to ask us, and we'll address them now. So, Amanda, the first question here is from Misty, and she's wondering if there's a limit to the number of learners in the course.
There is no limit to the number of learners you can have in a course. I think there are some best practices that, depending on the amount of facilitation you're able to do and how many mentors you have working with you. If you have a good team of people that can support you, I mean, we're running a course right now that has 1,300 learners in it, and it's running smoothly. So, it's really up to you and how much support you have to run it. But we see, anywhere from 25 in a course all the way up to, like I just said, 1,300.
Great. And can learners be enrolled in multiple courses at once?
Absolutely, yes. You can enroll a learner in as many courses as you want to at the same time, and they'll be able to access all of them from their dashboard.
Perfect. And as you were talking about the assignments earlier, what are some typical assignment formats that are available on the platform?
We do see a lot of people using, uploading documents that the learners have created, uploading slide decks, and uploading a video is really popular, especially for maybe leaders who are practicing having difficult conversations with their employees, and especially in like sales enablement. Those are very popular.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much. The other question that I see here is, are you able to gate or release content at different dates or as learners progress through the course?
Absolutely. You can schedule content to release at dates and times. You can also set prerequisites so that a learner has to complete one thing before they can open up the next piece.
Okay, wonderful. In reference to the mentor experience that you were talking about, do mentors receive notifications when feedback is required from them on an assignment?
Yes, they will. It will come to their emails as well, just like it goes to the learners.
Okay, wonderful. Let's see. The other question I see here is from Nikki, and her question is, my business would benefit from being able to compile some specific analytics and report them back to the learner's management team. Is that something that's possible through NovoEd?
You can absolutely, create a custom report for different audiences and run that report and deliver that CSV file out to those folks as needed. You can also enroll other facilitators in the course and only give them permissions to view the analytics if that's a better option for you as well. It's a very flexible permission system that allows that.
Wonderful. Thank you for that answer. I'm not seeing any questions here, and I know that we are actually at time. So I'd like to just take a moment to thank you, everyone, for joining. And just a little while ago, Amanda mentioned that we have this course that's going on right now with about 1,300 learners, and that's our Foundations of Learning Experience Design course. It's a free 5-week course that we offer, and it's currently open now. We're currently in the first week. And essentially, through this course, you're able to tap into the power of learning experience design and really learn how to create relevant, high-quality online learning that's core to critical skill building, business growth, and business continuity. If this is something that you're interested in, it's totally free. You can use your phone to scan the QR code here to register for the course. We'll also send a link out if this is of interest to you. I'd like to thank you, everyone, for your time. If you would like to learn more about NovoEd, please type yes into the questions panel and we can follow up with you afterward. And if you could fill out the exit survey that will pop up at the end of this webinar, that will provide both Amanda and I with very valuable feedback as we continue to modify and improve our webinar program. With that said, thank you again, everyone, for being here with us today. We hope you and your loved ones stay safe and healthy during this time.